Hello and welcome to another TNC opposition preview, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Elliot Yates, of course, of the Bear Pit TV. Elliot, how's things with you? All right?
Yeah, it's okay at the moment. Living in these weird times, but making the most of it, I suppose.
It must be strange, and we'll get into what it's like supporting a Stoke fan in lockdown in not so long. Elliot, to kick things off, I want to talk about your last result. Another draw against Reading, though, who are doing very well at the moment. What were your sort of feelings coming off the back of that result?
Well, I would have taken a draw before the hand because I thought we were going to get trounced 3-0. So I probably would have taken a draw. So I'm not too fussed about it. At the end of the day, O'Neill, this is a building season. It's not like we're going to go and get an automatic promotion straight away. I do think that's going to happen under O'Neill, but it's, like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm okay to take a draw against someone like Reading right now.
And speaking of draws, you've drawn 12 times this season, which is only second to Millwall's 14. Why have you not been able to convert those into wins? Because I'm fascinated by Stoke, because you've got some brilliant players that you've managed to keep hold of. Why are you not converting those draws into wins?
Well, I think it's the main man, Tyrese Campbell. We started off so well when he was in the side, winning most weeks, winning against Luton, winning against Reading 3-0 at the start of the season. We were winning against so many teams, and then he's out. And then at that time, it was really unfortunate because we had a load of players out injured. We had Allen out, we had Klukas out, we had a goalkeeping kind of dilemma out. So we had Angus Gunn and both Adam Davis out injured. We had so many players out injured. And then the cherry on top, if you like, Tyrese Campbell gets out injured. It's a season-ending injury. And the chances we're creating now aren't being turned into goals because we don't have Campbell in the side. And Campbell is the person that puts those chances away. So that's why we've not been winning, because we can defend really well. We've got Harry Souttar, who's one of the best, in my opinion, best championship defenders. And we've also got James Chester, who his record speaks for himself when he's in the side. We tend to always concede 3 goals when he's not in the side. And the only time it didn't happen was against Reading. So we can defend really well, but we just can't convert them into chances. So it tends to always be like sort of a 0-0 or even a 1-1 kind of draws.
But as you say, this is a transition season. That's okay. So it sounds like you've been plagued by injuries, and Norwich fans will empathise with that, Elliot, because we've been plagued by injuries for most painfully our Premier League campaign, which ultimately ended up in our slow demise back to the Championship, our whimpering effort in the Premier League. Elliot, I really want to be honest here. I want to tackle this subject. There's always the old cold, wet, rainy night in Stoke, and I want to ask you: are Stoke still a bit of a shithouse team to play against?
We have been this season, I think.
Oh no!
Not now. I think during the Christmas period, when, like we said, we were plagued by injuries, I think O'Neill basically decided, right, if we can't win, if we can't sort of win playing this sort of way, we just have to play a different way and become difficult to beat. So we started, I think Blackburn fans will probably know that the most. I think we won 1-0, just parked it the whole game, just slide tackled everything. And yeah, we, like you said, shithoused it. So we are still sort of in that phase. I think the difference between like a Pulis team, where everyone refers that to, is that Pulis tend to be sort of like, right, backs to the wall, we've scored a goal, let's just, or even just lump it to Peter Crouch if you have to. But under Hughes, that sort of changed the passing football. I think under O'Neill, we've kind of got a little bit of both. So we've got like a really hard-working team, but at the same time, we can like press a lot, and then we can also play like nice passes with players like Joe Allen, John O'Neill. Then the others players like James McLean, who's a hard grafter. So we tend to do it 50-50 at the moment, I think.
So in terms of your style of football, you are finally moving away from the Pulis lumping the ball up top sort of play. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say. I think we still show glimpses of it at times because either some players have been brainwashed in it, or or it's just like Stoke style of play is that sort of hard-working, grafting, which means that we have to sort of do that at times to get away from the players with quality. I mean, I think we did it a few times against Norwich. Like Buendia was giving people nightmares. So sometimes we just had to revert and just hoofing it out there. So just get away from it.
A player that's very good at hoofing it out there and taking some great goal kicks is, of course, Norwich boy and former Norwich City goalkeeper Angus Gunn, who is now at Stoke City. How's he been? I'm fascinated to hear from a Stoke fan how it's been for AG so far, because, of course, a desperately unlucky injury and now starting to get back into the side. How's that been for you so far, watching Angus in goal?
Well, it's been quite weird watching all the keepers, really. Adam Davis had a really good start. We all thought he was going to be the number one. And then Angus Gunn came in. I thought, wow, this is a great sort of goalkeeping, two here. And then they both got injured. And that meant we had to bring Joe Bursick back. And Joe Bursick is now staking a claim for the number one shirt. So we've got three goalkeepers fighting for the number one shirt. And I think, personally, it's the best goalkeeping depth in the whole championship. And... yeah, that's my personal opinion. You may disagree with me or not. My Twitter handle's right.
I love a big statement.
You want to criticise me. But I personally think it is. And Angus, in that, is currently number one at the moment. What's the word for it? He's kind of been very inconsistent a little bit. He started off really poorly. I mean, really poorly. So Adam Davis goes off injured against Swansea for half-time. He's thrown in, not had much preparation to do anything, and has an absolute... he does have a little bit of a howler. But since then, he did really well. I mean, he played really well against Rotherham, I think, and then played well against Barnsley, I think it was. And then, like I said, got injured, and then Joe Bursick's come in, fighting his place. He had a few shaky games, and Angus is now back in the side. So, yeah. Got a great competition.
Yeah, no, it's very healthy, and that's good for you guys. I guess not so good for Norwich City. We've been in and out with goalkeepers this season as well, so there's some similarities in Stoke and Norwich's plights in this campaign, certainly. Moving on now, who should Norwich be worried about, Elliot? I know you spoke about Tyrese Campbell, of course, but now he's injured. You're saying, so who should Norwich fans be worried about coming up against this Saturday?
For me, it's Jack Clarke, personally. We've signed him from Tottenham on loan, and he's like I said about Campbell, where we can't really create chances and can't really score. I'd say we still can't put it in the back of the net, but Clarke's replaced so much of that, just creating chances for people. He does look like the danger man for me. He's, Fletcher really looks like he's benefiting off him. He was unlucky, Fletcher. He scored a bicycle kick, but got ruled offside, and it was all from Clarke's nifty sort of footwork. And yeah, so Jack Clarke for me is definitely the one to watch out for in terms of an attacking threat. Somebody's going to get you, and someone's going to get into the box, try and make things happen. So I personally say Jack Clarke's the real danger man for me.
Okay, let's hope that he's not dangerous at Carrow Road on Saturday. Elliot, where are the weaknesses? If you were to be honest here and open up the guide to beating Stoke, what is it?
I personally think our midfield tends to be very sort of shaky a little bit sometimes. So I think Alan and Mikel had problems at first, playing with each other, because they tend to sort of do the same things going forward. And I'm not saying it's like a sort of Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, where they just can't play with each other, because they did play well with each other last time, but it's just sort of finding each other's strengths and finding each other's weaknesses. We still haven't got that yet. But I think, like you said, scoring goals now is our weakness. It wasn't when Campbell was out. When Campbell was in, but now Campbell's out, we can't really put balls in the back of the net. We can't score well, and we haven't won since November, I believe, against Blackburn 1-0. We just seem to draw, or we seem to just lose. So yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating time at the moment. Our weaknesses are probably scoring and winning. Yeah.
Perfect. Great answer. Thanks, Elliot. I tell you what as well, this for me, I will get on to predicting the game and how it's going to go, but I genuinely think this is going to be one of the most boring games of the season, because we're struggling to score at the moment as well. And if you definitely can't score, then hey, that's going to hopefully give Norwich a chance in this one. Elliot, a couple of quick fire questions. First of all, where do you think Stoke City will finish this season?
I said at the start of the season 9th, and I still think we're going to finish 9th. I didn't think we were going to finish 9th when Campbell was in. I thought we were going to get the playoffs, but I still think 9th and potentially lower, because we just seem to be slipping down now because we can't score goals, and like I said, we haven't been winning as many games we probably would have done with Campbell in the side. I don't think we've fully replaced him. We've signed Ravi Matondo, Jack Clark, like I said. I think we tried to get sort of the two of them, like Clark with his chances, Matondo with goals, but it hasn't happened. Matondo can barely really get into the side, and Clark's got into the side doing really well. He's got nobody to really put things away other than Stephen Fletcher, who's not as clinical as Tyrese is. So I think we're going to finish 9th, potentially 10th, but I think we'll finish in the top half, but sort of like lower top half.
Do you think that other Stoke City fans are resigned to that mindset as well, Elliot? Are they okay with it being a transition season? Because Norwich was served up that terminology before, and it worked really well for most fans. But there was absolutely a pocket of fans which were really frustrated by that terminology. Do you think that you're speaking on behalf of most of the Stoke fans there, that you're okay with this being a transition season, or are you frustrated?
I'm okay with it being a transition season because I trust O'Neill, and O'Neill's a good manager. And I think if there's something that O'Neill does, and I personally trust it. If Nathan Jones was saying this sort of thing, I go, well, look at your results. Like realistically, you're in 16th or you're bottom of the table, and you're saying that it's going to be okay. You haven't proved it yet. Same with maybe Gary Rowett, for instance. But with O'Neill, I trust him because we were bottom of the league when he first took over. We then ended up finishing 15th, which was unimaginable really for most Stoke fans. We all thought we were going to go straight down to League One and not be able to go back up again. But I trust O'Neill, and if he sounds like what he's saying is a transition season with no Campbell or whatever, I fully trust him. So I'm okay with it being a transition year. I think maybe some fans probably wanted us to see.
We'll trust your judgment there, Elliot. Where do you think Norwich City will end this season? And what have you made of Norwich so far? And actually, a third question in there as well. What do you make of Norwich City as a football club? Being totally honest.
Well, I've got nothing against Norwich, really. I've got things against Port Vale and Arsenal, but that's only because I'm a Stoke fan. And so don't really have anything against Norwich. Not like I follow your results every week, and you're in the same league as us. And from that conclusion, I feel like you're doing really well. And it's always been the same thing with Norwich. I always seen you as a yo-yo club, kind of, where you just go up and go straight back down, go up, straight back down. And it's always been like that, sort of like West Brom used to be.
Yeah.
I think you'll do the same again. I think you'll go up again.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll finish first or second, but I think you'll get automatic promotion spots and be back in the Prem again. So.
Okay, good. I'll take that. And moving on now, Elliot, what sort of lineup are Norwich City going to come up against on Saturday? What sort of Stoke City starting 11 do you expect to see?
Expect us to play like a 4-5-1 formation or a 4-3-3. So I'd have your old boy Angus Gunn in goal. I'd have Nathan Collins at right back. He's attracting Premier League attention, one of the best young players in the Championship, with another one, Harry Souttar. James Chester at centre back. He's been immense since he signed. Morgan Fox as well. He's another one like James Chester, who's always brilliant when he plays, like 8 clean sheets in 12 appearances. So another one who's very good at the back. Also has got a very good cross on him as well. I'd have probably maybe Alan and Mikel in midfield. Some fans are going to disagree with me on that because we've got so many midfielders fighting for competition. We've got people saying that Jordan Cousins should play because Mikel doesn't have as much mobility as he used to. And people are saying that Jordan Thompson should play because he's looked really bright this season. I agree, but we've got so many competition for places. They say Sam Klukas should play because he's been playing really well over the course of O'Neill's tenure, and I agree with that. But I think Mikel and Alan, because Alan works really hard in the midfield and Mikel sort of gives that a little bit of composure. I'd say maybe on the left it would be McLean. I think he gets a lot of stick from most people, but hard worker, or you know what to get from James McLean, always 8 out of 10 most weeks. The danger man, Jack Clark, I'd put him in. I'd probably put Jordan Thompson in there as well, maybe as a number 10, or maybe Alan as a number 10, but probably Jordan Thompson there as well. And up top would be Stephen Fletcher, probably. So expecting us maybe to concede 1 at most with that sort of lineup because of like the defence has been solid throughout that with that back 4.
Oh God, that's not what I want to hear, because we are struggling to score goals at the moment. Elliot, I really want to ask you now about the reverse fixture, actually, which was in November. It was some encounter, wasn't it? It was, of course, Norwich City did manage to get all 3 points in that game, 3-2, not rubbing it in, definitely rubbing it in. It was really lively, and I think what you've spoken about there, about that battle for who starts in certainly midfield for Stoke, is going to be interesting, because for me, Stoke was so easy to pass through when we came to your gaff, and I was surprised at that, actually, I must say. Of course, it was an onslaught, a very early onslaught from Norwich City, and then Buendia, being Buendia, got a red card, which then Stoke then really had a dangerously late surge, and I remember. Honestly, I've not wanted the final whistle that bad in so long in a football match. What were your thoughts on that game, in terms of both how you guys performed against Norwich and how Norwich looked against Stoke?
I was quite worried going into it because, like I said about the goalkeeper crisis, that was probably about the day after we realised that we'd recalled a young goalkeeper who's never played Championship football, and you could tell that he wasn't ready at that point, or most people like me could. I mean, Pukki's goal was like from an angle, he couldn't cover that post well enough and didn't save it. And I thought, is he ready? So I think they were just peppering him. What you say about the midfield, I think Joe Allen has sort of stopped that a little bit because he works really hard and intercepts balls. So I think that could be different on Saturday, because Joe Allen's that sort of player who'll intercept those passes. Like the Pukki one, for instance, I think that maybe Joe Allen would have seen it before someone like Jordan Thompson would have seen it through his experience. So I wouldn't say it's going to happen now. And also with Gunn in goal, I think he's more experienced, and I don't think that's going to happen. And another reason would be James Chester, because I think I said it's only from last game. So if we're going off last game's stats, the only time that James Chester hasn't been in a starting 11 in the Stoke side this season, we conceded 3 goals. 3 of them against your lot. So I don't think that'll happen now, simply because we've got Chester, got Allen.
He's not starting this week, is he?
I hope he is, but yeah, I think they're both back now. Powell and Chester will be available for selection on Saturday. That's been confirmed today. So I'm confident in that respect. So yeah, I'd say yeah, Chester needs to play. Probably Powell needs to play, actually. So you could take my starting 11 prediction and just swap Powell in for Thompson.
Okay.
So
it will be honestly really interesting to see whether Stoke have learned from the performance, as I say, at your place. Particularly with those first opening minutes, I was very surprised, I have to say. So let's. And by the way, you know what's going to happen from a Norwich City point of view. Angus Gunn is going to turn into Manuel Neuer against us, and it's going to be an absolutely unbelievable performance, which is very frustrating. Right, head to head, Elliot, over the years is relatively close. Stoke are on top. 21 wins compared to Norwich City's 18, 17 draws. Oh God, not again. So what is your score prediction for this Saturday? I want to know, what does your head say and what does your heart say?
I'll be realistic with both of those options. So if we were going to win, so this is what my heart would say, it would be probably 1-0. My head, so be more realistic, I'd probably say either 1 or 2-0 to you.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll certainly take that. I'm worried about this. I think this is an opportunity but like both teams will see this as a massive opportunity. Norwich need to bounce back. Norwich need to score. Norwich are now hunting down that top spot again. For Stoke, it's like, we need a win, right? We need a win. We need to get our name back on the Championship map again. So my head is saying it's going to be another draw, which will literally hurt my feelings, and I'll need to drink a lot of Lakens on Saturday to get through that. But my heart is saying that this is the time that Norwich City turn up, and I'm going to go for 2-0. 2-0 Norwich City. Similar scorelines. Elliot, where can people best give you stick online? Obviously, there is your personal handle, but of course, there's the channel one as well. What's that?
So the channel is The Bear Pit TV on YouTube, and on Twitter it'll be at The Bear Pit TV, and on Instagram it's at, so the initials, so TBP TV. So that's where you can find us. And my Twitter handle's over there if you want to give me a stick as well, don't mind.
Yeah, please do that. And by the way, on a very serious note, for any Norwich fans watching this now, please do go and subscribe to their channel and check them out. Such a fantastic fan channel. Genuinely, not just saying that. Been looking forward to getting you guys on all season. So absolutely chuffed with that. Thanks so much for your time today, Elliot. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Welcome anytime.
And thanks so much for everyone watching. Hugely appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you give it a thumbs up on YouTube, Facebook, share it everywhere. Do us a favor. We really appreciate all of your support. And don't forget, there will be a big TNC watch along on Saturday at 2:50. We are kicking off. And hopefully the next time you see me, Elliot will be frowning, I will be smiling, and it will be an easy 3 points for Norwich City.